way to this week's Views from the 573 podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in this week. Be sure to go check out our other channel, Entertainment from the 573. We're going to have a brand new episode that we're going to record this week. We got a bunch of stuff to get to. We got the new Batman and Robert Pattinson to talk about. We'll try to figure out a cool new nickname for him, which one we prefer. We got several movies to talk about. I think 5 is our last count. So a whole bunch of movie talk and a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So be sure to look for that Friday. But this week's Views, we got a good show. Before I get to anything, always go check us out, whichever your preference, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, whichever your preference. If you're on Apple Podcasts, be sure to go save an episode. So that way, if you want to listen to this one sometime in December, just for a reason that's unbeknown to us, then go do that. Keep track of all of our episodes. We're also going to try to do a little bit of expansion here with YouTube, with social media, so be on the lookout for all that stuff as well. Well, this week's Views, we got a lot to talk about. Last time we talked to you guys, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup had already been played. Since then, we've had 3 more games. We're going to talk about Game 5, which is going to be tomorrow night. Then we're going to talk about the NBA Finals. That series is tied at 1 apiece heading to Golden State. That Game 3 is tonight as well. So we'll talk about that. We got a couple other NFL notes with Ndamukong Suh, Gerald McCoy finding new teams. We also got to talk about some other stuff going on with the NBA, namely one Kawhi Leonard, a couple storylines going on with him, and also the latest on Anthony Davis and Kyrie, because there's been some stuff that has dropped within the last few hours on those situations. So that's the rundown for today's show. With that being said, I got to introduce Peter. Peter, how you doing?
Pretty good, and yes, for the second week in a row, the audio will be good.
Yes, after having 2 weeks of crappy audio, we're going to get... Oh, man. We're going to get 2 good weeks of good audio. So yeah, let's get right into the Stanley Cup. So Game 4 was played on, what was it, Monday? Okay, yep. I'm losing track of days here. I think last week I thought Thursday was Friday and Friday was Saturday, so...
This is what happens when you have 2 finals going on simultaneously, and one of them has 2 days off when you go to another team's arena.
Yeah, it's very confusing. Yeah. So let's get into the Stanley Cup here. So the series is tied at 2-2 with the St. Louis Blues getting Game 4 on Monday at home, 4-2.
Yeah, I'd say before we can get there, let's catch up, because it's been a wild Stanley Cup so far.
It's been a wild ride.
So yeah, after we were able to cover Game 1 last Wednesday, and we talked about it's not over necessarily. The Blues just have to make some adjustments.
Right.
And come Game 2, they did. They outshot Boston 37-23. They outhit them 50-31. Boston still got those penalty minutes, though, but this time around, St. Louis gave them a little more. It was 10-6 in favor of Boston. But yeah, that first period was just a immediate wild let's score. It was 2-2 even. Couldn't score in the second or third, so we had to go to overtime, and 3:51 in, Carl Gunnarsson got the goal, and the Blues were able to even her up at 1 apiece with a 3-2 win. But then all that fun kind of died when it came back to St. Louis, and we know St. Louis wasn't the best home team necessarily, no. But Game 3, this was not good. And it might be crazy when I read the score when you know St. Louis, they outshot Boston again 29-24. They outhit them 35-29. Boston, it was a high penalty game. Boston with 16 minutes, the Blues with 12 minutes. But Boston ended up winning 7-2. It was a ugly game. 3 in the first, pretty much pretty much towards the end as well. Like the first 10 minutes, it was pretty clean. And then with those last 10 minutes, Boston just kept bringing it on and on and on. Had to pull Binnington out, and St. Louis had to hear those 2 words that terrify them again, Jake Allen. So yeah, it looked as if momentum was just immediately dead. The psyche was dead. This was the Boston team we feared for a while. But then Monday night, it all came back to earth. St. Louis wins 4-2, and this was a And then yet again, they outshot Boston 38-23. They outhit them a little bit, 44-41. And this time Boston led the penalty minutes with 8-6.
This is what you want if you're the Blues. You want to outshoot them, and you don't want to have as many penalty minutes.
Mm-hmm. And especially just in terms of momentum, they scored 43 seconds in.
Yeah. And
like 2 minutes after Boston scored their first goal, Tarasenko scored. So it was an interesting game. It was 2-2 heading into the third, but St. Louis, Ryan O'Reilly and Shin just came on when they really needed to.
Yeah.
So we have a series, folks, as we go back to Boston tomorrow night for Game 5. And it's going to be interesting here, because if you're the Blues, you potentially can win at home in Game 6. You have to win. Game 5 is pretty much going to be the ultimate of must-wins right now. Yes. I know after Game 1, everyone was like, ooh, Game 2's a must-win. Like, not necessarily. This is game when it's 2-2, I consider this must-win for whoever's about to win.
Yeah.
Because if you're Boston, that means it's going to go to Game 7 for you. If you're the Blues, it means it goes to Game 6. So there's a lot of interesting things about to happen here, and it's gonna be a fun game tomorrow night in Boston.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe so. Game 5 is tomorrow night. I know Zdeno Chara, who ended up getting banged up pretty well by a puck in game 4.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like his status is still uncertain for the game tomorrow night. So who knows what the Bruins or what he might do. I know that was a big factor. He didn't get on the ice after he got hurt, did he?
No, I don't think so. And we should also say, Sundqvist was suspended for Game 3 after I guess, sort of questionable call in Game 2. Or questionable hit on his part in Game 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a very brutal series so far, which, I guess we shouldn't be surprised that's what Boston pretty much was when they were at their peak. And St. Louis, that's kind of been their MO this whole playoff, just attack them, because that's how they pretty much took down San Jose, one of the better teams in hockey. You just had to do what they're not used to, getting attacked brutally, which was kind of how the Penguins were back in their, 2012 to 2014 peak. That's how they lost the playoffs, Sidney Crosby was not used to getting those big hits, same with Karlsson.
Yeah.
So that's what the Blues have here. But again, as we said when we were recapping Game 1 last week, Boston's used to this. This is how they play. They know all the tricks, so you're not going to really get them off in that sense. So it's going to be interesting moving on here. I think that's where it gets scary. They're evenly matched at this point, which is what you don't want to hear after 4 games.
No.
Because realistically, Boston has an equal shot at winning 5 tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, which again, if you're St. Louis, and again, my historic stance on, these baseball, hockey, and basketball playoffs, I always prefer the team that's going to win it at home. It always feels weird when you win it away. Like, the Cubs World Series, if that was at Wrigley, that would have been one of the greatest sports moments ever recorded. But it had to be, in Cleveland. So yeah, I mean, if you're a Blues fan, you want to see basically a quote-unquote party riot in the streets of St. Louis. Hope to God they win tonight and can win it home on Saturday, I believe.
I believe so.
Actually, no, I think it'd be Sunday because of the stupid 2-day gap.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So Game 6 would be on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right on the Lord's Day, which is always fun.
Hey, Philly did it.
Yeah. Well, Philly just does it, for anything.
Shoot, Philly. They had I forget. If it was in the regular season or not. They set aside a day to rewatch the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't riot when Temple beat Penn State a couple years ago.
Oh, poor Temple.
So yeah, basically that's how it is. Hockey is riot.
Yep.
So yeah, Game 5 tomorrow night. We're even 2-2. That's the option right now. If you're Boston, you're gonna have to win a Game 7 at this point. Yeah. Unless you can pull out a sweep for 5 and 6, but I doubt that at this point. I know we all predicted Blues in 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be kind of amazing at this point if St. Louis could just sweep these last two, knowing how this is a revived Boston team. That would be pretty impressive.
And how close the series has been besides besides Game 3.
Yeah, and even then, didn't really have much of an impact. It kind of just woke the Blues up again. So if you're Boston strategy-wise, you're kind of lost maybe with this Blues team.
Yeah, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what you're going to get out of them each and every night. And this series has told us that thus far. So Game 5 tomorrow night. All the rest of these games are on NBC. It's going to be a fun time. I know St. Louis is going to be rocking tomorrow night. So, yeah, everybody get hyped for Game 5 tomorrow night. That's at 7 o'clock. So, yeah, get ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Game 3 of the NBA Finals is tonight. Since we last talked, there had not been a game of the Finals played yet. Game 1 was last Thursday. And then we had Game 2, which was on Sunday. Now we're heading towards Game 3 at Golden State tonight. The first two games, so Golden State end up getting Game 2 on Sunday.
Which, if you're Toronto, what an insult. No KD. Draymond was sick? ? Was that the thing?
No. That was Steph.
Okay, Steph was sick. I mean, realistically, this Golden State team was not there.
No.
And you still lost.
There's no reason. And also, let's bring this up. So in Game 2, to start off the third quarter, Peter, I know you're not the basketball expert here, but is an 18-0 run by Golden State bad for Toronto? Is that bad?
I'd say so.
I'd say so too. If you don't score within like the first 5 minutes of that quarter and you let the other team score 18 points, I'd say you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah. I see why people really hate Golden State passionately right now, because even when they're just depleted, up against easily the best team in the East, well, I guess confirmed best team in the East because they won it all.
Yeah.
Good God. And again, they're doing this, and Durant's probably out tonight as well, or tomorrow night as well.
Right.
Clay's questionable, I believe.
Yeah, Clay is questionable. I believe, I forget if it was a strain or a sprain. He hurt his hamstring. He couldn't play the rest of the game on Sunday. He's questionable for Game 3 tonight, and I don't know if he's going to go. He said he's going to try to play. He said the hamstring feels better than it did a couple days ago. So we'll see if he plays. But I know Kevon Looney, who they really like, he's out for the rest of the playoffs. He hurt his collarbone, broke a bone up there. So he's done. And so now Golden State has to go deep into their bench. Boogie Cousins, you got a nice game from him in Game 2, where I believe he had the highest plus-minus out of anybody on the Golden State team with plus 12. So hopefully you're going to get some production from him. And again, like you said, it's looking like no KD tonight, although they are ramping up how involved he is in practice and stuff like that and getting him ready. And they're not ruling out Game 4.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the big thing for Toronto for Game 2. You kind of have to win it, because if Golden State evens it up, that means they buy another day to get KD back in here.
Yeah,
and again, with this squad as depleted as is, if you get KD back in there, I think probably top 3 player in the world right now.
Yes.
That's going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah,
because Leonard can do a lot, but once you get KD in there, that's a game changer.
And also, it doesn't help the fact that Kawhi, he's not quite 100%. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
And so that's going to hurt them a little bit more. And looking at Game 1, so Game 1, Toronto ended up winning that one 118 and 109. You had an awesome game from Pascal Siakam, 32 points, 14 and 17 shooting. That's really good right there. Also had 8 rebounds, 5 assists.
I got to say, after Game 1, the cynicism I've had with Golden State just died immediately. Like, oh, maybe there is hope. Because I thought LeBron was the only person who had the pass to beat Golden State, and even last year he got swept out of the building.
Yeah, also, happy 1-year anniversary to J.R. Smith for getting how time works.
Oh, my God.
Had to get that in there.
Where is JR at this point, Ryan?
I don't know. He's probably bumming off somewhere. I don't know.
Is he still in Cleveland, or is he somewhere else?
That's the thing. I don't know where he is.
Oh, my God.
Has he fallen off the face of the earth?
About to say, if I had an embarrassing moment like that in front of the whole world in Game 1, I'd probably be gone as well.
Yeah, so a year ago, one of the greatest memes ever born. Oh, good grief. I can't believe it's already been a year. It doesn't even feel like
LeBron's beautiful face and just hand gesture. I don't care who you are. I know the art world's weird right now, but that's a masterpiece. That picture should be in the Met Gala.
Yes, it should.
Or the Louvre if you're in Paris. Right next to Mona Lisa.
Yeah, you're never going to get another moment like that, ever.
Well, I don't know. LeBron's in LA for 3 more years. We might get some stupid stuff every now and then.
Well, I don't know if anything as stupid as forgetting how much time is left in a finals game when you could maybe beat one of the greatest teams ever assembled in NBA history. So, I don't know if anything could top that. Now, who knows? Again, you are right. It depends on who they bring in. But
LeVar just runs out one game for no reason.
Totally plausible. Or you know what? He just comes out and coaches them. He just comes out and says like, "All right, guys. All right, Frank Vogel, get out of the way. I'm going to coach now."
It's big baller brand time.
Oh man. All right, so game 1.
Yeah, sidetrack aside.
Toronto ended up winning that one 118-109. And so that left a little bit of doubt as like could Golden State what could they look a little vulnerable here. Then you had game 2 on Sunday, and then you had the aforementioned big run 18-0 to start out the third quarter. And yeah, and then you had the Klay Thompson stuff. Boogie had a good game. Quinn Cook made timely shots, which you're gonna need that, especially if you don't have Klay. If you don't have Klay in there, that's gonna really hurt because you're gonna expect more from Steph, which you already do right now. Draymond, DeMarcus Cousins, and a lot of other bench players. You're gonna have to expect them, and they're banged up. They're not 100%. Well, nobody's really 100% this time during the season in any sport. I mean, when you get down to the playoffs, who's really 100% healthy? Nobody. Mm-hmm. Everybody's is nicked up, is going through something. So, yeah, game 2, Golden State wins that one 109-104. And now we're here with game 3 tonight at Golden State with what's looking like potentially the last few games at Oracle Arena. So there's that. So game 3, game 4 would be what? I don't have the final schedule up with me. Is that be what, Sunday or
Monday?
Oh, we're gonna have to wait all the way to Monday. Oh my goodness, are we? Hold on. Oh no, wait, Friday.
Oh yeah, sorry, Friday, Monday.
Okay. You got me worried there.
Yeah, about to say potentially. I think Game 6 for both, Game 7 rather for both would be on the same day.
Oh no.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, NBA started a little later, but let's bro. These playoffs for both the NBA and NHL, they go on just a tad too long.
Yeah, they do. So, game 4 that would be Friday, but we're not talking about. Oh, well, we could talk a little bit about game 4 depending on what happens tonight and what we think could happen tonight. So again, Klay Thompson's questionable. No Kevon Looney. KD's not going to play. So game 3 at Oracle, it kind of seemed like Golden State kind of got back some momentum. Now we're just going to see who's going to get this game 3 because we talked about game 5 for the Blues Bruins series. I think this one could be pivotal because listen, if you Golden State, you don't know if you're going to get Klay back tonight. You don't know you're not getting KD back tonight. You win this one and you get those 2 back for game 4. It's basically a wrap. Mm-hmm. If you get those 2 back for game 4, even if it's limited, you're going to win that, and then you go back to Toronto for game 5, in which you should win it. But if you don't, you go back to game 6 and you win it on your home court and send Oracle out with a bang. But Toronto, this is a key game for them. If they don't, they need to win tonight, especially if they don't have Klay and KD in there. I don't care how much of an advantage Oracle is to Golden State. Toronto needs to get this game, and they can. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think I'm going to book it right here. Toronto is going to win tonight, but Golden State is going to go win Game 4, and then after that it's going to be back and forth, and we're going to get a Game 7 out of this series. Which Game 7 would be at Toronto. I believe we said last week it would be June 16th.
Yep.
So I believe that would be, that's 11 days away.
Yeah.
So,
and by then you would have to imagine each team at that point, they was like, okay, everybody get on the court no matter what.
Yep. Like, we don't care if you have a broken collarbone.
Yeah.
We don't care if you tore your ACL, or we don't care if you ruptured your Achilles the night before. Get out there. I'm not. We're not being serious with that. Don't. Especially now with an Achilles.
But I'd say if this goes to Game 7, I think from just an ego standpoint for the Warriors, I mean, this is pretty much the dynasty on the line.
Yes, it is.
Like this would pretty much hurt them, I think, in terms of history, because, you survived easily the best player in the world, and but then you lose to the Raptors.
Exactly. So for both these teams, you're going to have to rely on a whole lot here, because you're going to have Kawhi, you're going to have Steph. They're going to, what they're going to bring to the table. With everybody else, you're kind of with Toronto. Are you going to get a big game from Pascal Siakam? Which Kyle Lowry, which Marcus Gasol you're going to get? Are your bench players like Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka, Danny Green, even though he kind of starts, are you going to get the same kind of production out of them that you would get, say, at home? And for Golden State, capitalizing on being able to find a way to make do without KD, and if it has to be like this tonight without Clay, so in which case you're going to rely on more from Alfonso McKinney, Quinn Cook, Sean Livingston. You're going to have to rely heavily on Boogie to play some big time minutes and make some big time plays here on both ends. So you're going to have to worry about those. You're going to have to worry about what those guys are going to bring, especially knowing what both teams, what's in the balance for both of them. Like you said, Golden State with their dynasty on the line, with Toronto, with them maybe trying to bring Kawhi back, and them having a prime opportunity to take a game at Oracle, which, like you mentioned this, like for any other team, it was hard except for those LeBron teams, except for the last couple of years where they only won one game out of both those series.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, you're going to have to try to pull off something that's really hard, but it's not impossible for them to get Game 3 or Game 4. I think they're going to get Game 3 tonight. Game 4 is going to go Golden State, and we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to go to a Game 7 in Toronto, which that will be wild.
Mm-hmm.
If any indication of how Toronto was wild during Game 1, imagine Game 7. It is going to be everywhere. It's going to be crazy. I'm not saying it's going to be Philly levels of crazy, because, I mean, let's be honest, they're Canadian. But yeah, if it goes to Game 7, I think that's where we're going to end up going. And let's be honest, Game 7s in NHL, MLB, or NBA playoffs, they're always fun.
Oh yeah, they're usually instant classics.
Yeah, which for the NBA, this is what you want. You want an instant classic.
I'm about to say you pretty much had two dud finals the past couple of years. Of course, the exception of Golden State blowing the 3-1 lead. I mean, yeah, you kind of need this. And even if Golden State ends up winning this, I think you want to go on as long as possible to maybe show cynics like, I don't know, a certain Peter Lewis that hey, maybe this league does have something to offer you.
Yeah. So who knows? I guess it's going to be done for our finals talk, but there's still a couple other storylines that we have to get to that kind of concern some of these players that are playing in this series. I will mention one thing that I did not send to you guys. I thought about it, but I'm going to save it for this.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a leak of a Nike shirt, KD merch.
Mm.
On the back of it, it has every city that he's ever played in. So of course, you got where he plays high school ball,
mm-hmm.
Oklahoma City, all that stuff. You got Oakland. But then that wasn't it. They had San Francisco, California,
mm-hmm.
in which it makes you wonder. So Golden State, their new arena is going to be down in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Did Nike just freaking leak that KD is going to stay with Golden State?
See, I think I said this last week. I think regardless of what happens, I can't see him coming back. Because, the whole idea of if he doesn't play, then I guess it hurts his ego because they did win without him again. So now he wants to prove, hey, I can win it without you. Or if he comes back, he can, have the ego boost of, hey, you won it because of me. So
yep.
I don't know. He's a mystery at this point. Like, I didn't expect Brooklyn to come into the conversation, but I think it's realistic at this point. Mostly because it is the East. Anybody can... Every team pretty much is one star away from making a run for the final.
Yep. And speaking of KD, going with that, you mentioned those Brooklyn rumors. There's also been rumors with Kyrie about that.
Mm-hmm.
I know my dad mentioned to me that he bought a home somewhere up near there. And I believe I told you guys that it's being reported that his final two choices are Lakers and Brooklyn. So everybody get the Curb Your Enthusiasm music for Peter right here.
Oh, should we tell the viewers what we decided on for the Knicks? So yeah, we should probably also say there was the report that the Knicks are looking to trade pick 3 away for like picks 8 and 10. Which at this point I completely believe. That's the most Knick thing I can believe or heard. So we decided if the Knicks mess this up for the 100th episode, I think I found a website where you can just make a random spin, wheel to spin. We're going to put every team but the Knicks in there, or might as well even put the Knicks in there. And we're going to spin, decide who my new favorite team will be if they mess this up.
I know. Hey, Matt brought up the idea of using ping pong balls and make it like the draft lottery. But find a way to screw around to get the best possible outcome, like the Knicks did with Ewing, right?
We're gonna rig it. Let's get David Stern here somehow. Hey, David.
What's David Stern's phone number?
David, I need you to rig it where my favorite team is the Warriors, so I can feel like I'm winning something.
And that would be for our 100th episode. Right?
I think at this point the Knicks are gonna mess it up. If it's down to LA and Brooklyn, I don't know what that means for KD.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to spring this idea up on you guys, and I think you guys will be down for this. I think we do a live for our 100th episode.
Oh yeah, somehow, some way we'll get that.
I think we have to, especially if that happens.
Yeah, we need a video proof of the wheel spinning.
Yeah, we need that. That's going to be a fun day if that happens.
Ryan, make a poll on your Twitter. Do we include the Knicks in the wheel spin or do we not? Because do we give me an entire chance of a new team, or do we have that 1 in 30 chance of me continuing to be miserable?
Well, I think the latter. I think that fits more in with where Views is going. If I'm just being honest here.
It's objectively funnier to have me as a Knicks fan than a Warriors fan.
Yeah. Hey, that gives people at home hope. All right. So there's that idea thrown out there. That could be for 100 views. So we had the Kyrie stuff talking about him maybe going to Brooklyn. Brooklyn is actually, they're in an interesting spot right now. So you had the reports come out. We're going to get to AD right here. That the Pelicans and AD, it seems like they're listening for offers on AD right now. I believe his list is the Lakers, Knicks, and the Clippers. And while I don't think he's a huge priority for the Clippers, I think KD and Kawhi are more so. AD is still up there. And so you have that. You also, the Celtics weren't a team. Now I know they were mentioned because they had a lot of these assets, young players that could be very interesting for the Pelicans. And then you also have the Nets, which were presented as a dark horse, which, depending on what happens, if they're able to land a Kyrie or if they're able to land a KD, or who knows, maybe even both, maybe you find a way to make to make that move. And with the Nets, that would be very interesting. And also, I think, oh wait, did I send this to you guys where I think it's funny because Kawhi, so you had the famed Brooklyn-Boston trade years ago where Brooklyn just gave up everything to Boston. And then what Boston did is they used up trading some of those assets to get Kyrie to Boston. And then if Kyrie goes to Brooklyn, that's gonna be hilarious.
The circle will be complete at that point.
Yeah, it will. And Brooklyn, they're a nice team. They made some strides last year, and they're an interesting destination because you got the Barclays Arena there. You got D'Angelo Russell there, who's an all-star. So there's potential there. There's potential. People rave about their coach, Kenny Atkinson. Comes from the Spurs line of coaching. So that's an intriguing option for a lot of these big-time free agents. But one big-time free agent I don't think is going to go there is Kawhi. Now, a couple things going on here with Kawhi. So rumor has it that he purchased some property in Toronto, which I don't know what that says, but I will say it sounds weird that you're doing this during the finals, but who knows? Is there something there? I don't know, because I think he's got a home out in LA.
Oh, about to say, when you're rich, you have like 70 homes, so I don't buy too much into that. Maybe he likes the city and wants to come back, although it'd be awkward to come back if you were to leave them.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's an interesting thing to think about. Also, with Kawhi. Oh, man. The Kawhi versus Nike lawsuit. Oh, man. Peter, this is when our common law days are really going to show. With how much we learned. Or how much we choose to remember. Which is not
I pretty much deleted that part of the degree. All I know is just when you're in Google Images, make sure you put the option of free to use material, and you're good to go.
All right, so Kawhi filed a lawsuit against Nike over the claw logo. If you haven't seen it, you go check it out. It's actually an interesting logo to think about. But this is back when he was with Nike. Of course, he's with New Balance right now, I believe. And so, which is freaking weird to say. You have an all-star, one of the top 5 players in the world. And what's his shoe deal? Oh, with New Balance. Which is just like, you can go into Walmart and find those shoes. Oh, man. Kawhi is he is a really weird dude. He doesn't say much. He had the freaking weird laugh. And then you have this. We're just bringing back old NBA memes today. The Kawhi laugh. The LeBron and JR. Golden State up 3-1. That's going to be a little taste of our 100th episode right there. We're just going to bring up old memes from the show. All right. So, the story is he filed a lawsuit against Nike on Monday. Again, this is during the finals. He filed this in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of California. And Kawhi says this is a logo that he created. And so now we're going to use some of our common law knowledge here. So, Peter, it kind of depends. Like, it kind of depends on what the contract that he signed with Nike says. I think it's the first big thing. It's like, what does the contract say? Does Nike get to copyright it? Because listen, if Kawhi created it, but if Nike copyrights it, doesn't that make it Nike's?
Yeah, technically, yeah, that's the case. I'm trying to found something on it. Like he said, he created like during the 2011-2012 lockout. He claims because he's known for his big hands.
Yes,
that it's hit. That he has that. That's where it gets kind of weird. Because again, I don't know the contract specifically. Again, they're not. Nike's not going to release that contract to the public. That's going to be the courts deciding. It kind of depends on what really is yours. Because if, these contracts, these athletes sign, with Nike, Adidas, New Balance, whatever, they're kind of giving up their rights in a way. So like I say, none of us are an expert on this by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it might be a settlement, I would say.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a picture right now of him, and this is him during his time at Toronto. He's wearing a hoodie with the logo on it. And so I think there's a quote in this article I'm looking at. It said, it happened a long time ago. You guys are just finding out about it. And Kawhi says he's not worried about it. So, I mean, why would you? You got the NBA Finals to prepare for. So, it's not a big deal. Now we have not when you file a lawsuit over the biggest sports brand in the world. But, and see, my first thought was, like, if he created it, and even if they maybe copyrighted it, they probably asked for his consent in that, right?
Okay, I actually found what I was looking for. So this is from ESPN. Quote, unbeknownst to Leonard and without his consent, Nike filed an application for copyright registration of his logo and falsely represented in the application that Nike had authored the logo, end quote. So basically what that is, I guess Leonard, workshopped with them, but then Nike just took it and said, okay, it's ours now, based on, you were, I guess, collaborating. Again, don't take don't take anybody who barely got a B in that class for their word, but if that's the case, I think he does have a shot.
Yeah.
But again, the weird thing is if, when you're working with these companies like, Nike, how do they, because that's what Nike's going to have to prove, how do they define this, collaboration? Yeah. Like, was there something in the contract from the get-go or the agreement that said, hey, if this looks good, we're going to take it immediately without your consent? But again, if it's Leonard's work, then technically he has the copyright on it.
Yeah, and I think it all depends on the fine details of what the contract says. What are the terms of collaboration? What are the terms about him being able to make a logo? What are those? Find those, and then you can maybe work to find your answer here. So, this is, again, we took a comm law class. We barely passed it, to be honest. We don't know what we're talking about here.
All I learned in that class was you go to Google Images, you hit you hit tools, and you hit reuse with modification, and then you cite if need be. That's all I learned. Because mostly everything in comm law is up for debate. Like, nothing is finite, which is law in general. There's nothing that says, oh yeah, specifically this is how this case would go. No, it's pretty much argument-based, and whoever has the bigger clout wallet-wise, which, hint, is probably Nike. So.
Yeah. And then you have precedents, and then, like, precedents can be changed and all this stuff.
I'd love to see this go to the Supreme Court. Just have RBG and Kavanaugh like, what is this?
And just see Kawhi go up there and talk.
The sad thing is there's no cameras allowed in the courtroom, but there is audio.
Just play his laugh on repeat. That's the only solution. That's the only solution to get that figured out. Hey, another meme. Modern problems require modern solutions, Peter. There's your solution right there. All right. That's enough of us trying to figure out comm law for now.
Let's be real. These lawsuits take forever. So, I mean, we might not be talking about this till, no joke, maybe next spring.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time. Especially, Kawhi's got a lot on his plate right now. He's got a series. He's got free agency.
And neither side wants this to go anywhere. They don't want to go to actual court. They want to settle. That's usually how these things go. Like, if you were to ever get, like, a summons for jury duty, there's a 99% chance it's not going to happen. Like, someone's going to be like, I'm just going to take the plea deal. Courts are... Those, like, courtroom shows you see, they're kind of misleading. Most cases, you're just like, just take the fine or the plea deal or whatever. Unless you're OJ, you fight the system because you've got that clout, boy. You got Robert Kardashian on your side. How are you going to lose? And Johnny Cochran. You got the dream team of lawyers. They could get me off for anything.
Well, are we sure?
Well, about to say 2 of them are dead, so R.I.P.
Oh. All right.
This is what the show's become.
Moving on to... Yeah, it's just become
it's sports with
memes.
Sports with a little bit of posted. Oh, my bad, Ryan. This is the meme sports show.
Yeah, it is. All right, I guess our
before we get there, I have some baseball stuff. If you want to do that.
All right, yeah, let's get some
baseball somehow the draft happened. I forgot that existed. No one cares because you're not going to hear from these players in like 2 to 3 years. Apparently the Orioles or Royals or whatever got like the next Harper. They say that every year. I never believe it. In actual season matter, the Phillies, the opening day outfield is now down to 1 original guy because McCutchen has torn his ACL. He's out for the season. Yep.
Rip.
That's what you get for screwing Pittsburgh over, boy. Play taps, everybody. Miguel Cabrera has fallen to the designated hitter role, but he opened it with a grand slam, so he still might have some fight in him. If Matt Moorman was here, good news. I think Ohtani is set to come back soon. And also for the homers, the Cardinals swept the Cubs, so they're now within 3 of the NL Central, which is still wide open at this point. So yeah, you got some baseball right there. We cover it every now and then rather than the end of the month.
Yeah. So there's a couple little bits of news going around baseball. Yeah, I sent a picture to you guys. It's like I randomly remembered the MLB draft was tonight, and I remember telling you guys every now and again I would end up watching it. It is the most
awkward thing ever. Like NBA, NHL, NFL, they have it in like an arena. They have some pageantry too. They have people there to react. No, MLB, it's in their studio on the MLB network. And it's like the families. That's the only people who are there. It's the most awkward thing ever. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I know one guy from Missouri, from the University of Mizzou got taken pretty high. I forget who he got taken by, but anyway, yeah. So, like that's one of the weirdest things you guys probably figured out about me is that I will somehow stumble upon watching the MLB
but not
draft.
MLB itself.
Yeah.
Unless we get a team in Memphis.
Oh, man. Or unless the Cardinals are playing in the World Series. In which case my interest level skyrockets. Just like my interest in the hockey in the hockey playoffs. If the Predators or the Blues are in it, I'm
the NBA.
I'm game.
It's like stop with the idea of like the season means anything. Just get to the playoffs already.
Yeah, let's get to something.
Just have the Warriors face every team in like a best of 7. It's basically if the field wins more than the Warriors, the field gets the NBA championship, or vice versa.
Oh, that would be really kind of sad to see all 29 teams lose, and then you see Golden State holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy. I forgot the name.
Let's be real. They're gonna face teams like the Magic, the Hawks, the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. It's a pretty good chance they'll beat the field with those teams.
Well, Well, you know what? We always say this at the end of the season. 29 teams end up losing the championship. One team wins it. To actually see it happen right there before your eyes, that's kind of like, oh man, that's kind of like all hope is lost. Like it's just a realization of 29 teams. Even if the 29 team is one of the best teams in the league, it's like, guys,
It's
suck.
like back in the 70s and 80s when it was the NHL All-Stars versus the Soviet Union. You just realize, even with our best up there, we can't beat those. But then Herb Brooks came in, folks, with a ragtag group of college students, and we won it, baby.
All right, last bit of stuff to get to before we head out for the day. Gerald McCoy and Ndamukong Suh. Gotta talk about the situation. So those two were out. Ndamukong Suh was out on the market for a long time, and then Gerald McCoy, his situation with the Bucks ended up to him getting released, and so the Bucks were then in need of a new defensive tackle, and who they go after? Ndamukong Suh. And what do? They give him Gerald McCoy's number. Which I find that is like, oh my goodness, that's really petty right there.
Yeah. So now, as is tradition, everybody can say, you know what? Maybe the Bucks have a chance. Maybe this is their year.
And then like, oh wait, no, they're gonna go 6-10.
But come August, one of us will say it. And it'll probably be me for like the 18th year in a row.
I know it won't be me. It won't be me. It's either going to be you or Matt.
Again, in fairness, that NFC South, with the exception of the Saints, the 2 spot is open.
Yeah. It's really hard to predict that division.
What's the status of Cam? Because we thought it was going to be surgery, but I don't think anything's happened yet.
I think he's going to get to play this season, but I still think he's nicked up a little bit. And Cam can't play the way he used to. Which, speaking of, that's a good segue because that's where Gerald McCoy signed with. He signed with the Panthers, everybody. I believe he visited with the Browns and the Ravens and the Panthers. Sorry, Matt. So he goes to the Panthers. He's going to get to play his old team twice a year now. Well, he's on a 1-year deal, so twice this year. The Panthers defensive line, I can't remember all the names off the top of my head, but they drafted a guy too. I know they drafted Brian Burns from Florida State at defensive end. Their defensive line is looking
I think they also
good.
got Christian Miller out of Bama. I think that was the next big one.
That's right. So the Panthers defensive line, hey, if you can get back to that method that you had years ago where like you had a really good defense, hey, that could be enough to maybe try to carry them to that spot. Who knows?
I actually just pulled up their draft. They pretty much drafted the entire SEC with the exception of a Florida State guy and a West Virginia guy. Everybody's from Ole Miss, Bama, Florida, Carolina, or Georgia.
I know one team that's missing there.
You know one team that's missing from the entirety of the draft. Thank you, Butch. Is he still the special advisor at Bama?
Yeah, you know what, Peter? I was going to spring this on you guys for the 100th episode, but since we've gone into full memes, I've got a new one. Now this could be either go really good or go really bad and be like a wah-wah type of situation. So, we've seen pictures of Butch kind of be like Nick Saban's manservant, kind of. Him washing the windshield on his car, him going to get coffee, him trying to talk to Belichick and Saban like he's smart and like he knows how it takes to win championships. So, what is the only meme for this? Well, people know how short Nick Saban is, right? Well, I think, isn't Butch Jones a little bit shorter than him? Maybe, I think. Let me go pull this up. I need to go check this out. I need to make this work.
Pull up celebrityhype.com.
So, all right, so I see Nick Saban is 5'6". Now, how tall is Butch Jones? Please be shorter. Please be shorter. No, he's 6 foot. How? Oh, man.
Saban must be wearing some high heels.
You know what? I think I can still find a way to make this work. You know what? So forget the height. So basically what Butch Jones is to Nick Saban. So Nick Saban is Evil Knievel and Butch Jones is Mini-Me. That's the new meme. That's the new meme, everybody.
You know
Butch
what?
Jones
Saban
is
is taller if he's standing on all his national championships.
Hey, that is true. That is true. What's Butch going to stand on? One life championship?
No, he'll be standing on a Music City Bowl trophy, an Outback Bowl trophy, and a Tax Slayer Bowl trophy.
Also, maybe the precipice of all the young careers that he's ruined.
He's going to be standing on your hopes and dreams.
And he's going to be crushing them. Never has a man caused
How in the
so
world
much
did he
pain
win
in my
3
life.
straight bowl games when he was in Tennessee?
I don't know. I guess the talent, I mean, you did have Dobbs, you did have Kamara, Barnett. You do have some guys in the league then that I guess the talent just overrode the system. And then eventually people figured out what the system was like. Oh,
I'm just
crap,
imagining
it
if Matt was
sucks.
here right now, he'd just be crying the whole time we were doing this. He's like, oh no, minor league football. By the way, if you're new to the show, Matt Mormon was our former co-host, but decided he's going to do other stuff. Can't make it every other week.
He decided he can't be a show that talks about memes all the time.
He takes sports seriously. He also likes the Last Jedi, so that probably explains his psyche right there.
His favorite players are Mike Trout, and you guessed
with a little
it, Mike
Ohtani every
Trout.
now and then.
And maybe, who knows, maybe Ed Reed or Ray Lewis sprinkle in there.
If you can't tell, he likes trash.
Well, no, wait, Peter, I thought we established I liked... No, wait, we've established we all like trash.
Yeah, if George Gerwin's the Ice Man, Matt Mormon is the Trash Man. How's that for a deep cut basketball joke for you, Ryan?
Hey, I like it. Oh, man. All right. We went off there for
Pretty much the weekly episode of Views in a nutshell. You open with the serious stuff, and then it just progressively gets worse.
And it goes off on a
It's
tangent.
pretty
like,
much
how
the
did we get
progression of
here?
Sports Center. It started as a respectable thing, and now it's just a terrible, awful thing no one wants to be part of.
Hi, Disney.
You can
Will you still
sell ESPN
please
to
pay
us.
We need our paychecks. We'll say we like Dark Phoenix.
Oh
for you
no,
guys.
they don't
How
even
about
want
that?
people to say that. They want that Fox X-Men to be so bad that when they produce their MCU X-Men, everyone's like, "Oh, thank the Lord."
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
If anything, they want you to watch Dark Phoenix and Fan Forstic back to back just to realize how good you're about to get.
Oh.
Yeah, for
That's
basically
rough.
the preview of entertainment on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, Dark Phoenix has opened to a 21%, 73 reviews in.
Has it changed?
Yeah, the reviews are, it's a 21% now, so it did go up 2 points. There is hope.
Yeah, so entertainment, we're going to be recording that Friday. Peter, you and me have got a lot
We
of
haven't
stuff
had like
to
a real
cover.
entertainment in a while.
Yeah, so everybody buckle up. It's going to be a big one. We got a new Batman. That's something to look forward to. You know, let's sell this out the way. What's his nickname now? Is it Banson? Is it Patman?
Sparkle Bat
What
for the
is it?
Twilight fans. About to say, people don't like you, man, for some reason. You're a good actor and all, but those kids, they remember those Twilight films.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that, some other stuff going around that film. We mentioned this at the top of the show. We got 5 movies
I just
to talk
want
about.
to say this.
Um,
The first Twilight is one of the worst movies ever made. Everything after, though, in that franchise was brilliantly done in a so bad's good fashion. Like those Breaking Dawn films, they are garbage. I love them. They are awkward and painful.
Yeah. So the 5 movies we're gonna review: John Wick Chapter 3. We've both seen that. Booksmart, you're gonna see that as soon as we get wrapped up here. Then Godzilla King of the Monsters, you're gonna see that tomorrow. Then Aladdin, I end up seeing that one twice on accident.
I want to hear that story.
No. The first time it was on purpose. I was going to, and then the next day we were going to see another movie, and we were going to celebrate my dad's birthday. But my dad was like, "Oh, let's go see Aladdin." So we all went to see Aladdin again. So that's fine with me. I don't care. We'll have fun with it, I guess. And then Rocket Man, which I saw yesterday and you saw, and we both really liked it. Which, that's a little bit of a short review before we get into the real long reviews on Friday. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Rotten Tomatoes new scores.
They changed the audience where now you can have verified audience reviews. Yeah. I guess it's like Fandango or something, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. And then, you know what? I was going to do this for the shows, but since we've gone off on a tangent, like it seems like we always do at the end of the show, let's take a look at the all-time... let's take a look at the box office and see where Endgame stands, because I was going to do that Friday, but since we're here and since I'm able to pull up right now, let's just figure out. So, right now, Avengers Endgame stands at $2.71 billion. Let me try to get this right. So, 2.715 is the number for Endgame. So, I believe it's still in the 70s. In the 70s range, or
73 million away from tying Avatar.
In which case, it's going to be tough for them to do it. I'll say that. I think I told you guys this, and I'll tell you guys this again. I think some theaters are going to keep this in until Far From Home comes out in early July. Because I think people will go see this, try to figure out, oh, hey, what happened? Or maybe, hey, I want to go see this again to catch up and go see these two back to back. Maybe make some money out of it. But yeah, I'm getting really skeptical of it catching it now. I mean, there's still a chance. Don't get me wrong. But I think looking at it, think about this. Endgame passed Titanic, which was number 2 for over 20 years. Which, that's insane. So, good for them. A couple other things. We're going to talk a little bit more Marvel news because why not? It's entertainment. We always somehow do. And plus, again, hi Disney, thank you for the money. Or maybe we should thank the mouse or something. I don't know. Or no, thank Papa Feige. So we got Black Widow filming to discuss because that's starting to film. There's some interesting talk about that. And also, there's some interesting stuff going on with Marvel films that are being talked about, like the Eternals, a couple others out there. So those are going to be a couple things we're going to talk about. Entertainment is going to be packed Friday.
Also E3's coming up, so we can preview that a bit.
Yeah, and they're going to preview an Avengers game, which I'm looking forward to that. Please don't let this be on just PS4. Please make this on PS4 and Xbox One. Don't screw me over like you did with the Spider-Man game. I want this. Disney, Marvel, I know you're going to make more money if you do it on both those than just on PS4. I don't care what the numbers for the Spider-Man game tell you guys. Do it for both. Anyway, there's me going off a little bit. But yeah, E3 is, I know the presentation for this game is on Monday. So I believe that gets going next week. So we can preview that a little bit, see what goes on during that weekend. So yeah, we're going to cover a whole lot of ground on Friday. It's going to be a big show. I'm just taking a look at the 5 movie reviews. I think it may have been the most we've ever done in one episode. I don't know. I know we've done maybe 3 or 4. But this is getting crazy here. But like, hey, we've had a bunch of movies come out that were, yeah, it's summertime. Bunch of interesting movies are coming out. Not Dark Phoenix. So yeah, that's going to be a big show on Friday, and I guess that's where we're going to wrap it up here. Sorry, we went on a little bit of a tangent there. But hey, that's where these shows are ending up nowadays.
Yeah, I guess maybe that was Matt's purpose to wrangle us in.
Hey,
well, actually, yeah, let's be real. Matt would have made it worse. He would just talk about Ray Lewis for 20 minutes. A real-time Ray Lewis speech, if you will.
Oh, and then we'll spend the next 20 minutes talking about how great a player Trout is. Oh, man. Yep. Hey, we don't need to be concerned. He's dust right now,
and
Peter.
He's going to stay that way until, unfortunately, the beginning of July.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think I saw him outside for a second. I don't know. I may have. I don't know. I could go get him, but I don't know. I would say that Peter Parker is dust, but he's not dust anymore. So, Matt, you've taken Spider-Man's place. That's an honorable choice, Matt. Well, actually, no, wait. It wasn't his choice.
It wasn't a 50-50 shot. It was 100% get him out of here.
Yeah, just get him out of here. Oh, it makes you think what you could do with the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. So
it should be pointed out. It's probably thankful I don't have that power.
Oh no, I think it's thankful for nobody to have that power.
But especially me.
My goodness. I think even ones that are more that would probably be on the side of being morally right and good. I even think they would have a hard time with that kind of power because, like, listen, that's a whole bunch. Like, you could literally decide the fate of the universe.
LeBron could have it,
right
he still couldn't beat the Warriors.
Well, you're right there. You're right with that, Peter, because if he used the gauntlet, chances are his arm wouldn't work anymore. But let's be honest, LeBron with maybe one arm would probably be better than a lot of these players in the NBA. Let's be real here.
I think that's where we definitely pull the plug at this point. Let's bring on home.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening to this week's Views from the 573. Again, check out Entertainment. Our episode is going to be, we're going to be recording that Friday, so be on the lookout for that. Go check out Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. I don't even know if they still go on Google Play anymore. I don't know. I never check anyways. So if those three are your preference, and if you're able to find them on Google Play, good for you. So be sure to go check those out. Also, we're going to be tinkering around with a little bit of the social media stuff, YouTube stuff. So who knows when that's going to be coming. So keep an eye on that as well. But that will do it for this week's Views from 573, everybody. Thank you guys for listening. Get ready for game number 5 tomorrow night, the Blues Bruins, and then game number 3 of the NBA Finals between the Warriors and Raptors tonight. So thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you guys next week.